Revolution. I'm delighted to see such a packed room today. My name is Matt Farquharson. I am Editor-in-Chief here at the Conduit. Green jobs tend to be defined as those that preserve, protect, and help to restore our environment. And that's what we're looking at today, where those jobs come from, how we can create more of them, and how we can do that in a way that ensures that no one is left behind. So we have a packed agenda, and I will step aside, and I'm delighted to introduce our co-founder and CEO, Paul van Zyl.
Good morning, London. Welcome to the Green Jobs Revolution. It's wonderful and inspiring to see a wonderful band of co-conspirators here in the house. I'm Paul van Zyl. I'm CEO and co-founder of the Conduit. And the goal of the Conduit is to gather change makers to accelerate solutions to the world's most important challenges. During the course of our deliberations today, we're going to focus on two specific challenges that are vital to a healthy planet. First, we need to navigate a plausible path to net zero carbon emissions as quickly as possible. Second, we need to grow and shape a more inclusive economy, an economy that offers its citizens a fair bargain. If you work hard and assume responsibility, we will offer you both opportunity and the chance to live a life of dignity. The simultaneous achievement of these two goals has been termed a just transition. And this conference is designed to explore and articulate the specific policies required to facilitate this transition. We want to take an evidence-based approach and perhaps subject conventional wisdom to some friendly scrutiny. Although the exercise is of global relevance, we have decided to focus predominantly on the UK for two reasons. First, in the UK, we have a new government which is committed to this project. We are living in a real-world experiment, and we want to contribute to its success. Second, what happens in the UK doesn't have to stay in the UK. If this project succeeds, it can be a template for other governments elsewhere. Conversely, if it encounters challenges, we want to analyze our shortcomings so that others can avoid our mistakes. We've also chosen to focus on the UK because we thought it would introduce too much complexity to tackle these issues in a multi-state context. However, in order to widen our intellectual and moral lens, we've included a session that examines these questions from an African perspective. We believe, for reasons of principle and self-interest, that Europe should want an adjacent continent to afford its citizens a sustainable and dignified future. We hope that this conference will provide answers to a series of vitally important questions. Which jobs, where, and in what quantity will be lost as we move away from fossil fuels towards net zero carbon emissions? Which green jobs, where, and in what quantity will correspondingly be created? Who will specifically be impacted adversely, and who will benefit? And what will a balanced scorecard between green jobs and all other jobs look like in 10, 20, and 30 years? To answer these questions, we will look at case studies of labor markets in three sectors of our economy: power systems and renewable energy, the built environment, and food and agriculture. An examination of these sectors will quickly reveal that the creation of green jobs is a necessary but insufficient condition for creating actual employment. Our next panel will therefore explore how to invest in human capital and how to embark on the skilling and reskilling of a generation of employees. Our skills panel will offer insights on the future of work in the green economy and beyond, and will consider the impact of AI on labor markets. The radical and foreseeable changes that are already happening as a result of this novel and disruptive technology might dwarf and possibly erase any net gains made by green jobs. Even if AI produces in aggregate as many jobs as it destroys, something that in itself is subject to considerable debate, the gains are likely to involve different workers in different geographies who require different skills in different industries. So, if over the next 10 or 20 years we make significant progress on the path to decarbonization and create millions of good green jobs, we are likely to simultaneously experience radical ruptures in our labor markets that may disrupt employment, opportunity, and inclusion, particularly at the base of the economic pyramid. How will policymakers and politicians explain to voters impacted by this disruption that the net zero transition has or will work for them? What will happen if parties on the right, and possibly even the left, begin to use grievances that emerge to delegitimize the policies and platforms that are vital and necessary to sustain the net zero transition? We have witnessed this strategy before, and while it's almost certainly cynical and deliberately distorts both cause and effect, it's grounded in a lived experience that is socially and politically salient. Our next panel will grapple with this conundrum. We want to explore how we can forge political and social consensus around just transition policies so they are underpinned by a degree of policy stability and continuity. We know that faith in democracy is corroding, and that many no longer regard post-war democratic systems as fit for purpose. We have seen the rise of populists and demagogues who condemn the system, capture power, enter the House, and then, like termites, eat away at its foundations. We need new systems that return power to the people and give them greater proximity to decisions that impact their lives and an ability to exercise agency with greater frequency. How do we break through polarization? By giving people the facts and then allow them to choose and own the political outcomes of these decisions. We also know that facts are upstream from democratic deliberation, and that the reform and re-architecting of our democratic systems cannot be separated from the repair and reimagination of our information systems. Put simply, if we want democracy to work and citizens to provide informed consent for the just transition, then we need to actively combat the disinformation and the polarization that our current information systems exacerbate. Our final panel will grapple with all of these issues, and then our final keynote speaker will wrap this all up with a bow. If this all sounds rather complicated, multifaceted, and interdependent, that's because it is. Nothing of any consequence is ever simple. Our job today is to discern the signal amidst all this noise, to coordinate a set of realistic policies, and to appreciate that net zero, jobs, skills, democratic innovation, and information markets are all intrinsically linked. Fortunately, we have on the podium and in the room some of the finest minds one can assemble. So fasten your seatbelts and listen attentively. And finally, for some thank yous and some housekeeping. First, to our partners, a huge thank you. We could not have done this without you. Systemic, the Crown Estate, the BMW Foundation, Renewable UK, the Family Business Network, Green Alliance, and Impact Europe. Second, a thank you to our remarkable speakers. Third, a thank you to you, our star-studded audience. It's vital that you meet each other, network, and then collaborate. To our treasured members, thank you for being such generous, curious, and accomplished and energetic bunch. And to the non-members in the audience, you've made a tragic mistake. You could have this all year round and more. Please look for a Conduit team member if you're interested in remedying the situation. And finally, to our wonderful team, to Perez and Jay, to Eddie, to Katya, to Raki, to Beth, to Hess, to Duna Films, to Matt, to Megan, to Meljo, and to our full front of house team. This doesn't happen without you. A million thanks. Lastly, some housekeeping. Please turn your phones on silent. Please turn your phones on silent. There will be photography and filming taking place throughout the day. Teas and refreshment will be provided on the second floor throughout the day with seating provided for guests. Lunch will be at 1 to 2:30 on the second floor, and guests will have access to the Ubuntu Lounge snugs on the third floor throughout the day. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our first keynote speaker, Lord Adair Turner. Lord Turner has had a remarkably distinguished career in business and public service, working in senior positions at McKinsey and Merrill Lynch, as well as chairing the Financial Services Authority, the Committee on Climate Change, the Pensions Commission. He served as Director General of the Confederation of British Industry and is currently the chair of the Energy Transitions Commission. Lord Turner.